The Egyptian experience is unique. We have seen Indonesia, Turkey in the past, where transformation has been relatively peaceful. We need to negotiate with the people of Egypt, not with the tyrants and authoritarian leaders. They have waited far too long. They have suffered immensely. It's time that the international community look at them and respect the sentiments of the Egyptian people.
Now, you are a controversial figure in Malaysia. You have become an advocate for democratic reform there. But can the change sweeping the Middle East reach Southeast Asia?
The ramifications of what happened in Egypt is phenomenal. Either from the secularists or liberals or Islamists, it is the dictate of the Egyptian people that has an enormous impact. Yes, Tunisia or Yemen do have a slight effect, but Egypt is important. It is a center of learning for the Muslim world. Malaysians in large numbers, Indonesians, Pakistanis, have somehow, through students, through teachers, through imams, had some form of experience with the Egyptian institutions. And therefore, they are looking at the Egyptian experience very closely. Many governments, including in Malaysia, seem to downplay the importance of that remarkable, phenomenal change to respect the voice of conscience of the majority of Egyptians. And I think we are monitoring and we see why democracy and freedom is demanded by the Egyptians, and why can't it happen in other parts of the Muslim world.
Now we're looking at live pictures of Tahrir Square in Cairo this day. The anti-government protesters still turning out in force, in fact, in greater numbers than before, according to our correspondents on the ground. Anwar Ibrahim, do you believe that the domino effect that started in Tunisia, that we're seeing in Egypt, could in some way reach Malaysia?
Well, it has contributed to an extent a better understanding, because in the past, authoritarian governments, including the Malaysian government, would only say that security is paramount. But security under whom? These leaders do not have the legitimacy. Who appointed them in the first place? Who gave them that full authority to decide for the people? Both Egypt or other countries that have seen flawed process of elections. So what is important, it is new dynamics within the Muslim world, that we want freedom and democracy, and the clamor for change is not dictated by Washington or London or Paris, but by the people themselves. It is also important because we are also looking not only at Egypt, but how the United States and Europe see this. Is there the politics of ambivalence, talking about democracy on one hand and tolerating the nonsense, the repression of authoritarian leaders and the corrupt establishment? So it is very important that we give a clear signal. We respect human rights, we respect the freedom, and we let the Egyptians themselves decide their future.
Now, if change does indeed take root, what needs to happen to successfully make that transition from revolution to a functioning democracy?
We have seen this spectacular change, the peaceful transition in Indonesia and Turkey. In the Indonesian experience under President B.J. Habibie, virtually a caretaker government. But what is important is not individuals, not to just allow for some intelligence chiefs to decide for the future of Indonesians. But there, Habibie and the team made clear decisions, free, fair elections, judiciary that must be independent and not function under the thumbs of the executive. Media must immediately be free. In the case of Habibie in Indonesia, a day after he assumes the presidency, all political prisoners were released. No more harassment, torture of demonstrators or legitimate opposition figures.
Anwar Ibrahim, opposition leader of Malaysia, former Deputy Prime Minister, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us here
Thank you, Kristie.
on Newsstream.